Hello, everyone. This is Miss Grow talking. I am the English Language Arts Specialist for 6th grade HOA. And what we've been noticing is that some of you don't really know how to write a paper. And I know Ingenuity is not the best outlet for writing these papers because it's just a box that you type in. But I'm going to go through in 3 different lessons how to write an introduction paragraph, a body paragraph, and a conclusion paragraph because that is what we're grading you on. That is how you set up a paper in any class, not just a language arts class. So we're going to first walk through introduction paragraph in this lesson. So this is how you start your paragraph or your paper. The introduction paragraph is the first paragraph of the paper, and it's titled Introduction because it introduces your topic to your readers. There are always 3 parts in an introduction paragraph, no matter what. The first is an attention getter, the second is a transition line or sentence, and the third is your thesis statement or claim. Some teachers will call it different things. In my language arts class, we will call it these 3 things. In other classes, you might call your attention getter a hook. Some people might say a connecting sentence instead of transitioning sentence. Some people, instead of thesis statement, might say claim. But all of them mean the same thing, and they have to appear in this order in the paragraph. There's a little video here. I'm not going to take up time right now, but I will include the link for it so you guys can see it and have access to it on your own time. So we start the introduction paragraph always with an attention getter. And an attention getter is literally just that. It is the first thing your readers will read, and it helps them decide if they want to keep reading or quit. So it grabs their attention. It gets their attention. You want to hook in your readers' attention. You want them to be dedicated to be reading what you wrote. So it's very, very important that your attention getter is interesting and engaging. Your attention getter should pique their interest by being a broad idea that can be connected to your topic of your writing. So I know you guys, for this informative essay, your prompt is researching and describing the changes and challenges that today's immigrant children experience. So maybe a great attention getter would be setting the scene and talking about traveling across the country in or across the world in a boat to land on a new shore somewhere. Or maybe you use a statistic about how many immigrants there are in the United States today. Something like that that will briefly hook your reader's attention but not give away everything you're going to talk about. So the 3 main types of attention getters that we are discussing in our hybrid 6th grade classroom is a question, a quote, or a statistic and fun fact. So you pose a question about children today who are immigrants. You pose a quote, maybe from the research you did. You took something word for word there, and you're quoting it because you liked the way it sounded about immigrant children. Or maybe you found a fun fact or a statistic. But that is your first sentence. So when looking here, here's some different examples. Let's say I know my research topic is different than yours because yours is immigrant children today. However, my research topic is puffins, the sweet little adorable bird puffins. So I need to create an interesting attention getter that intrigues my readers but doesn't give away my whole topic about puffins. So an example of a statistic is there are roughly 9,600 species of birds in the world. This is a broad statistic because I didn't pinpoint and say puffins only. I said birds. So then I know I can narrow in my reader's focus throughout my introduction by narrowing it into puffins and not just birds in general. So, example of a quote. There are some 9,600 living species of birds. I actually found this statistic in one of the articles I was reading, so I quoted it word for word from the article. Or an example of a question. How many birds are there in the world? Are there hundreds of birds? Are there thousands of birds? So I'm posing those questions to my readers to get them thinking about birds, and then I'll slowly narrow it in to talk about puppets. Super cool way of hooking your reader's attention. Remember, they're broad ideas. You don't want to pinpoint your topic right away. Some reminders though, when you are working with writing informative essays and academic papers, you have to use third person perspective. Remember, first person is your perspective. You say I, me, my, we, our, us. Second person is you, your, yours, yourself kind of thing. And third person pronouns, we use it, its, he, she, him, her, his, hers, they, them, theirs. So if you're talking about more than one person, you would use they, them, their. If you're talking about just a guy, you say him, he, him, his. Or a girl, you say she, her, hers. Or if you don't know the gender, or you're talking about like an object or an animal, you would say it or its. So when you're writing your papers, you have to stick with this third person perspective. When you're posing those questions, you can't say, have you ever heard of blank? Because that's using second person. You have to only use third person pronouns. So these are the pronouns you cannot use when writing an academic paper. No, I, me, my, we, our, us, you, or your. Those are outlawed because they are first and second person. They're not third person. And in an academic paper, you always use third person perspective. These are just some examples of things that can you say or can't you say in academic writing. So first line is, they are interesting animals because they can swim and fly. Yes, they can be used. It is third person. What do you think about sea lions? This is a problem because we have the you pronoun. It cannot be used. Many people think that World War II is the worst war in history. Many people is great. That's third person perspective. You're not saying I, me, my, we, our, us. Okay? In this paper, I am going to write about climate change. Absolutely not, you guys. We never, ever tell our readers that they're reading a paper. So we never say this paper or I am going to be talking about. We never say that. You need to reword it to make it third person, something about climate change. And then finally, it is important to remember that everyone is a human being. This is absolutely okay to use because it is third person because it uses the term everyone. So moving on then to transition sentence. This is the second sentence you'll have in your introduction. The transition sentence is a little more information about your topic that helps connect your attention getter to your thesis statement. So this is where we start narrowing in our topic. It doesn't stay broad as our attention getter is. We start slimming down the topic so our readers know what is going on. So my examples of transition sentences. If my attention getter is my statistic, which was there are roughly 9,600 species of birds around the world, my transition sentence could be, of these 9,600 species of birds, see my connection to my attention getter right there, there is only one very special bird, the puffin. Then I know the puffin is my topic and it's going to lead into my thesis statement. So this is a great transition sentence because it ties attention getter to thesis. My next one, if my attention getter is my quote, there are some 9,600 living species of birds. My transition sentence could be, the little puffin is just one of these many different species of birds. See how my quote is similar to my statistic because they're literally the same piece of information. However, I changed up my transition sentence. I'm not using the same one that I used for my statistic. I made it a little different, and I'm pointing at the little puffin being one of the different species of birds because there's so many species of birds. So you can see the two connections. And then finally, if my attention getter is my question, how many birds are there in the world? Are there hundreds of birds? Are there thousands of birds? Then I'd narrow in my topic by using the transition sentence that says there are thousands of different species of birds in the world, and one of them is the puffin. So see how I'm connecting it to my attention getter by saying thousands of bird species and narrowing it into my topic by calling out the puffin. Oh. Last but not least is your thesis statement, also known as your claim, but this is the most important sentence in your paper. It tells your reader exactly what they're going to read about. So for you guys in your informative essay, you're going to literally tell your readers all the changes and challenges immigrants' children face or experience in like 3 big points that you've learned, okay? So we call it expository research paper. On Edgenuity, it's called an informative paper. It's the same thing. Your thesis is going to be informative. It's sharing information to other people. So you need to share what your topic is and what 3 big points you learned about it. So this is the formula for your thesis statement. So topic, so you would say immigrant children today have experienced many things, and then 3 main points like going to school, having parents supported, and getting jobs or something. I don't know, whatever you learned in your research, those 3 big points that you're trying to make connect with your topic, that equals your thesis statement. So my example is, remember my example is puffins. Puffins are birds that live near oceans and eat fish. So my 3 main points are talking about them being a bird, living near oceans, and then eating fish. Those are my 3 points that I'm going to make in my body paragraph. Okay, so all put together, this is what it looks like. There are roughly 9,600 species of birds around the world. Of these 9,600 species of birds, there is only one very special bird, the puffin. Puffins are small birds that live near oceans and eat fish. So you can see I color coded it for you. Attention getters in orange, transition sentence in white, thesis statement in purple. And that is how you write an introduction paragraph, you guys. And yes, it is short and sweet. It's 3 to maybe 4 or 5 sentences, but you have a sentence for each one of your attention getter, transition sentence, thesis statement, and you are done and good to go. And so that is what I have for you today about introduction paragraphs. If you have any questions, please, you guys, feel free to reach out to me through Edgenuity email or Schoology messaging. I'm here to help you.